But then there's also the fact that, would you trade anybody for? Should we go down the insane rabbit hole, my friend? Because I've heard 97's not happy in Edmonton, and Auston Matthews, number 34, ain't happy in Toronto. Seems like it. So do we go down the rabbit hole?
Well, here's the funny little thing we have going for the Auston Matthews bit, which is, it seems now 96% certain that the Flyers have Toronto's 2027 first-round pick unprotected.
They want that back, don't they?
Well, considering they also have traded their 2028 first-round pick to Boston, yes, it might be good for a team that's probably staring down a rebuild to have first-round picks. And when you consider they traded those 2 first-round picks to us and to Boston for a combination of Scott Lawton and Brandon. Who's Carlo?
Carlo, yeah.
Carlo.
Yeah. No.
I would probably want them back.
Yeah. Well, see, they were going all in. That was the thing. They wanted to go all in and go to the Stanley Cup, but they haven't been to it since 1967. Just saying.
So, yes, we have a first-round pick that belongs to Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
That if they trade Auston Matthews, probably becomes more valuable because you're absolutely degrading your team.
Oh, yeah.
If you get rid of Auston Matthews, and hence the pick, it will tend to rise higher. So we have that little advantage that they could have their first-round pick back. If you could somehow get Auston Matthews at distressed asset prices, because he finished the year hurt, and he didn't have the year up to that point that many expected from an Auston Matthews. I wouldn't be unhappy about exploring that, but it really comes down to what you have to trade for it. McDavid, yes, is unhappy, but he's got 2 years left.
Correct.
And is the best player in hockey.
And I think he wants to see it all the way through in Edmonton. And
Edmonton has no reason at this moment to give up on him.
Right.
And so they can request the moon for him. And if you're going to trade what it's going to take, you're basically putting him back in Edmonton.
It's almost, you're
not going to have anything.
It's almost like a reverse Eric Lindros. It would be an Eric Lindros situation. You're trading away pretty much most of your youth, maybe some draft capital, all that kind of stuff, just to get the number 1 player in the world here. So, I just don't. I mean, I know Briere he's an excellent GM, proven that. Putting this team second round Stanley Cup playoffs has been unbelievable. I don't see him doing that. I really do not. It would be asking the moon. There are rumors that maybe he wants to play in San Jose with Macklin Celebrini, which could you even imagine those two together? I mean, that would just be unbelievable. I heard that today. I was just like, oh my God, San Jose, there'd be no excuses. You're going to like the top of the division and possibly making deep runs with those two at the helm. I mean,
I'm not so sure why Edmonton would be motivated to trade with San Jose.
In your own division, I don't see that happening. Yeah. So you ship him east, that's the question, and that's where the thing is, like, I think with a lot of Flyers fans be like, well, what would it take? It would take a lot to get him here. And I think what we've shown is that we have good young talent that's coming that you don't want to just throw away. For a guy that really, Connor McDavid is going to be 30 by the time his contract ends, essentially. He's like 28 now. So, you know, that would be maybe that next big push. What do you do? That kind of a deal. I don't know. But yeah, and even if it was at the end of free agency, would we be in a position with him being 30 years old?
If he hit free agency, assuming he's still Connor McDavid in 2 years, which I have no reason to believe he won't.
He would not be.
I would absolutely be all in on trying to give him a contract.
$20 million
my concern
for
is that, yeah, why not? The cap's going up, dude.
Why not? Yeah.
My concern with the trade is it's going to take so much to get him that
Yes.
you're basically setting the rest of your roster back to square one.
Yes. And you have to do it
Right.
all over again. And that's not something
Yeah,
you want
and
to do.
why is he going to be happy with that? Because you
right.
just gutted your team
Right.
to bring him
To
in.
bring him in, and it's like, gee,
And he's trying
great.
to get out of that situation.
Yeah, it's like you're not even close to a Stanley Cup right now, and like I've got nothing in the cupboard. Thank you very much. You know, it's just not going to work that way.
Right.
So
the thing with Auston Matthews is he had a down year and
got hurt.
Things got hurt. Things are changing in Toronto. You might be able to get him for something less, and that's where it would be interesting.
It would
Right.
be. It would be very
So-
interesting. Yeah.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to inquiring.
I am not
would it
either. I think you
And that first round Toronto pick is a nice little chip.
it is. It is. And I think that is probably what would be talked about, because there's no way that we're giving up Martone or any of the young guys for this guy. That doesn't help us any, I don't think.
Well, now, let's not be too hasty.
We could give him Jet Luchenko. I mean, that would be pretty good. No, I'm joking out there.
How about this? Your boy, Forster.
How dare you? How dare you?
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
Forster,
Yeah.
York,
Ooh.
Luchenko, Toronto's first round pick, and let's say another first round pick.
Price too high. Yeah.
Think
For
that's too
Auston
high?
Matthews, that's too high. I think that's
For-
pretty.
I mean, if you trade that and he comes in and scores 60 goals, I'm not saying that's too high.
Yeah. That's not too high either. But
Now you're right to be. I mean,
I
his
was
shot,
very skeptical. Yeah.
his shot was not what it had been this year. That is the concern. But
Yes.
that's also why maybe you could get him for less, because the concerns are there. I said
Yeah.
he's a distressed asset.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Whereas
Potentially.
Auston Matthews, I think if you were to do something like that, what was it, like at least around the COVID era, maybe even heading into like 22, 23, he was one of the top 5
not
players
enough.
in the world. Yeah,
It's
it was
not
one of-
enough for Auston Matthews at that point.
Not even close. So, yeah, you're right. I think there is the injury history. I think the fact, you're the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you have just been for months, years. How come you haven't won? How come you haven't won? How come you haven't won? Eventually you get beaten down by that. And, it's like, it's the Toronto media's job to do that, because everybody wants to know, why haven't you won? At some point you get tired. And I think that's what's happening with McDavid, up in Edmonton. At some point,
To a lesser extent.
To a
I mean,
lesser
it's not the
extent.
media, yeah.
But the point is still valid. At some point, it's like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of answering these questions. I need to pull a Mitch Marner. I need to get the hell out of here, and I got to prove to the rest of the league, the rest of the world, whatever the case is, the rest of the NHL press, that I can win in this town because of X. Because of my talent, whatever. That grades on you, and especially if you're the number one player. We went through that with Eric Lindros all those years ago. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
He was the best player in the world here while he was here. And yet they could not, there were a couple of times they could not get out of the first round. Edmonton reminds me so much of the 97 Flyers. Like that whole group, the way it is, the way it's constructed, there was top heavy. You got two great players. The only difference was Eric Desjardins miles ahead of like Aaron Bouchard. And it's like, you've got suspect goaltending. And it's like their goaltending was atrocious in the first. It was so bad. It was like,
oh God,
it was probably the worst I've ever seen. It's like you trade for Jari and you don't even start him in the round. It's unbelievable.
How could they?
I don't know. Right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that trade completely blew up in their face. It also blew up in Pittsburgh's face because it didn't work. None of them made it out of the first round. There you go.
Well, you traded a bad goalie for a bad goalie.
There you go.
We laughed at the time, and we were proven right.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like I can understand why McDavid would be upset. I can understand why he's like, we got to be better. I don't know what else to tell you. We just have to be better.
Yeah.
To be more consistent. And it's like, boy, that was the same thing with Lindros. It was like, you keep hitting your head against a brick wall. You got to fix this goaltending issue, and it's like it doesn't get fixed. And you just keep buying and buying and buying, or you make a dumbass trading one goalie for another. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like I get it. I get it
now, but McDavid, there's still time there.
Yes,
Matthews.
Probably less time.
I heard Chris Therien be like, he thinks it's 50% that he's not on Toronto at the start of the season.
And that's stunning.
It is.
That holds true. That would be unbelievable. The question is, where does it go? And where does Toronto trade him to? That's the thing. And I think we have something intriguing. We've got that little first round pick holding right over his head. Like, here you go. You want it? You want it back? You want it back?
Mm-hmm.
The Auston Matthews plus something else. And we'll give you your first round pick back. That's not going to happen.
I like the way you think. Extortion.
Yes.
Yes. That might work on NHL 95.
Well, come on. Let's call it spade here.
Before they gave the AI the authority to reject trade proposals.
Damn it, Claude.
Anymore.
Damn it, Claude. Damn you. That kind of. It'll be interesting. I think this will be a very interesting offseason, really, for the Flyers. Where do they?
There's one other thing I wanted to say for the offseason.
Yeah.
And it's because of the defensive logjam. I think they ought to move Risto.
Interesting.
I think now's the time. You need the space. You got young. Juracek can't get sent down to the Phantoms without clearing waivers. You're gonna need the space. He played well. I think you could get, especially he played well in the playoffs. He acquitted himself well. So he's kind of at a high in terms of value at the time. So I think you could get what people were rumored the Flyers were asking for. The Red Wings gave up what we were asking for to St. Louis for Justin Falk, and they didn't even make the playoffs. Do you think they would have rather have had Risto instead?
Steve, I was just going to say Risto is a movable contract, $5.1 million.
Absolutely,
you could move that.
I think now is the time. And
you could put that together as a package deal for Toronto.
Well, no. What I was just thinking. Actually, you trade Risto, you get a first round pick.
Yeah.
Now you package that first round pick and the Toronto's first round pick and some players, and we've got an offer.
They got an offer there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea, though, to have Risto on the to trade him. That would be very interesting because I would tend to agree. I think it wasn't at the trade deadline, but certainly for the next year, where you've got Hunter McDonald and you've got Juracek and Bonk, all in the pipeline, all coming up. You got to make room for some of these people, and you got to move somebody. And you got Risto with 1 year left now on his deal before he hits, an unrestricted free agency. Yeah. With him being 31,
you're not going to resign him.
You're not going to resign him with a number of youth. So I think it is the time to move him. The question is when. And I think around July would be an interesting. I think he's an interesting trade candidate. Yeah. I think he's an interesting trade candidate heading into this off season to package something as part of something to go somewhere. The question is, does that go to Toronto? Because I heard they're desperate for defensemen. I'm just saying.
I don't think Risto goes. That's why I was offering York. You got a young, controllable defenseman.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't want Risto. But if we get a first for Risto, now you have that first.
They've got it
to Toronto.
Listen, Steve, Toronto hired a GM who had been out of the league for 5 years, who was indicted for all sorts of fraud and conspiracy or whatever. So I think they can be had. I'm just saying.